Hi guys, welcome to Jam. So we're doing something new this year. We're doing most of our events live from our TV studio. So we're sat here with Rikki and Jah Digga, Derry Shillitto. We'll be getting into that in just a couple of seconds, because this is the first event. Wanted to stress a couple of things. So because we're doing it a little bit differently, you do need to join Microsoft Teams, otherwise we don't get that register mark for you. But you need to click on the YouTube link, watch the stream on YouTube and ask your questions there. The other thing that's super important is no bants, no memes, because our poor moderators have got to go through those questions, figure them out. You want the opportunity to ask questions to the people we're talking to, and if there's a bunch of memes and bants, it's going to cause us all kinds of headaches. So join us on YouTube, keep your teams open to get that register mark, and we'll get into it. So, coming out of Nottingham's legendary community recording studios, Jah Digga has steadily built a rep as one of the country's leading rappers. Jah tells his stories of urban life in his distinctive East Midlands style, finding a national and global audience for our city's culture. Jah is also a poet, podcaster and community advocate, and we're going to watch a little bit of one of his music videos.
Rent's due and I can see my mummy panicking. I should grip the ting and start shooting like local cameramen. Don't know where my daddy went, I could pass as my daddy twin. Baby mama drama, I slam the door on her angriness. Check Nick Stezzy's the pain, throw that sample in. Contemplate a cancer stick, 100 calls I ain't answering. Bombarded me with text messages that just hold malice in. I'm cancelling anything that with my sanity. I mean, I take myself away from what is hurting me. More the people heard of me, the smaller that my circle be. Third degree try burning me internally, but I can see them perfectly. Sometimes I feel like Hercules, sometimes I feel like Urkelby. Sometimes I fall off and my mates come have that word with me. Sometimes I'm on my game, get me to the studio urgently. Please take these words from me. Anything that drains you's got to go. It's killing you off.
So that music video, Good to Go, was shot by Derry Shillitto. Jah's working relationship with Derry goes back years, collaborating on multiple music videos and the podcast No Blacks, No Irish. Derry's a linchpin in Nottingham's thriving film scene, recently writing and directing The Correction Unit, a feature-length film that brings together local talent with The Last of Us star Bella Ramsey. So we're going to hit up Derry's show reel, which should land on your screens any second.
Example, look what happened to Van Gogh.
So you guys have worked together for several years on podcasts, music videos. How did that working relationship come about, and what do each of you get out of it?
Well, yeah, like I said, I've been in the Nottingham creative scene for many years, coming across many different creatives, and I met a guy. I was working on a project with CRS Community Recording Studios with. There was a film called Gillimot with Dominic West. He was involved in it. It was to do with the Royal Foundation. And I met a guy on set called Luke Radford. And we just kicked off straight away. And Luke Radford was a good mate of Derry's, you know what I mean? And then we just kind of, you know how it gets. We get to what ideas get knocking about. And then we just connected. And then I met Derry. And then again, we started working on music videos. And then it just transpired from there, like music videos. Then we had an idea to do a podcast, and then from there, the creative friendship was just locked in. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's how it started, really.
And for me, it was just like Jah is like one of the best lyricists, I think, working in UK rap, and it was just everyone that was in rap, like Wiley, people knew Jah and loved him, but then like I thought he deserved better videos, better like things out there, like more attention and stuff like that. So Luke was often directing these videos and I was producing them. and we did about like what 7 or 8, right?
Yeah, about 7, 8, yeah.
And then Luke did a documentary for BBC in it as well.
Yeah,
which,
that was dope.
Yeah, and then the podcast was just trying to get more, because you had ideas, so it was just like let's find a way to like talk about these ideas, and we just started a podcast, and it was good.
And also just to piggyback on that, like Derry was saying, like a lot of I was just raw with the lyrics and raw with like just creating and writing, but my videos were kind of whack. I'm gonna be honest, my photos were kind of whack, like, and all that production side was just not there. So obviously these guys came in and just took me from here to there, and as we know now, 2025, 26,
we're going to get some batteries.
It's you know, like, it's important to have good visuals and good production behind just the raw lyrics, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I thought like the chemistry was there, the connection was there, the compatibility was there, and it worked. It worked.
Fantastic, love it. So I wanted to ask you guys about the No Blacks, No Irish podcast. Tell us about that. Probably also worth, I mean, I get the reference in the name, but a lot of our students probably don't. So that might be worth talking about that. But tell us about that podcast.
Yeah, we just got chatting, didn't we? And like I thought, and then Nick Stez, who's like a good mate of yours and a good mate of mine, and he just said, you guys should do a podcast, and we were just thinking about it. Yeah. And I think initially we were going to call it like Let's Get It, which was the thing that you were saying at the time.
Yes.
But then someone said, you're Irish, your family are from the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Like this it just makes sense. So basically, to explain, like in like the 50s and 60s, my dad and like family would see these signs in like shops saying no blacks, no Irish, and the idea would be every time like they go into shops, because a lot of people were like xenophobic, anti-Jamaican, anti-Irish people in like the 50s and 60s in Britain, because there was a huge Windrush generation that all came in at once. I mean, we're hearing the same like rhetoric now. Yeah,
absolutely.
So, but these signs were like up in shop windows, and so we thought like it would just be kind of in an ironic way to sort of use that as like a thing of pride. Like Nottingham, there's a lot of outcasts in Nottingham. There's a lot of people that like work within the margins and stuff. So no blacks, no Irish sort of captured that. And the people we got on the podcast were all, people that were maybe like trying to speak out and trying to like do something with their work, or like...
There's a message, there's a message behind what they're doing, the substance behind what they're doing, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, you've had a lot of good guests on there, haven't you?
Yeah, we had Nadia Whittam. That was a joke, because she was saying some secrets. She was talking about how, like, basically Parliament sounds like the thick of it. It is actually like the thick of it, the show.
Yeah.
And Nadia was just kind of being really honest, but she always is. Like she's an MP for Labour in Nottingham East, right? And even now she's very like outspoken and honest about stuff. And on the podcast, she was saying some hilarious stuff, wasn't she?
Yeah, she's dope because she's young as well. She's young. She's kind of from where we're from, so she sees that perspective of like coming from the inner city areas, but having a seat in Parliament. She's a real voice, you know what I mean, for the real people of the streets, you know what I'm saying. So it was just a good conversation to have with her to kind of understand both sides of the fence, you know what I mean. Yeah, and I feel like she is a good spokesperson to do that, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. And Jason from Sleeping Mods came on as well.
He was
a legend, and he's a big fan of yours though. So the reason he did it was because he'd been listening to your music.
Okay.
So asking him to come on, it was just like he just was.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy, isn't he? Because he's kind of got one foot in that hip hop world.
Yeah.
But then he's got one foot in like another world, and his take on hip hop is quite different from nearly anyone else. You know, he's a very unique voice. And I think with Jason as well, he's so unapologetically himself. Yeah. Like you get what you see is what you get. So and I like people that are just, they're not performative. They're not putting on a mask. You know what I mean? They're just being their self, and it's just you get that if you listen to his music, Sleaford Mods. You can hear that, you know what I mean, and he's the same in person. So that episode, was top tier, you know what I'm saying.
We also had a football hooligan called Sultan Sam.
That was interesting.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. Yeah.
Wow.
So he's on the terraces, forest. He's been doing the forest thing for years, and he's just gave us some crazy stories. But it was just interesting. Again, I know Sultan Sam from St Anne's in the area I live in. And I always see him knocking about. He's just one of them dodgy guys. He's always just wheeling and dealing, but he's got an interesting story, you know what I mean? And some of the stories that he was telling us about the terraces and just the hooligan lifestyle, and it was just so interesting. The stories that you don't get to hear on a regular basis, you know what I mean? So it was just good to have, you know what I'm saying?
It's great as well that it's not just like people with like local celebrities or even sort of national profile, like Jason Williamson or Nadia Whittam. Like there's amazing stories all over the shop if you dig them out.
And like you're saying, I think some of the best stories come from average people, the normal people that off the estate. You know what I'm saying? Because it's real. It's real. It's not, as we were speaking off camera, like it's not the glossy version. We want the real rugged version. We want the true stories, the things that happen in the streets, the things that happen in our everyday lives. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm about, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and there's a big steer towards that now with social media, isn't there? So I think there's this idea that we've kind of been overrun by people pumping out, and there's a lot of AI kind of slop and stuff that comes out now. And so rather than seeing like consistency of social media posts, people are going back to more like authentic kind of social media posts. And that's certainly something that both of you do in your work, actually. Yours is very authentic from the voice it is with the correction unit and things like that, of a very localised kind of Nottingham thing. And yours is right from the heart and soul. So how do you think that's playing out? Is that something you recognise and do sort of intentionally, or is it just a case that that's the sort of work you were doing anyway, and now it's kind of rolled around to that's what's, I don't want to say like in vogue or popular, but like that's what's cutting through at the minute?
For me, it's just I honestly just speak my experience, my experiences. I just talk my truth. You know what I mean? I just be who I am, and I display that in the arts. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to be. I don't think you can try and be authentic. I think you just are authentic, you know what I mean? Or you are who you are, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I agree with what, like, it's people are trying to knock the gloss off a bit so they can, you know, seem that they're from a lifestyle or they're being authentic, you know what I mean? But I feel like people like myself and Derry, it's just natural. Like this is just who we are. Yeah. Who we are on a normal day is who we are when you see us on the TV or you hear us on the radio or you hear us at a show. Like it's across the board, you know what I mean? It's not an act. It's not performative. It's just natural.
And so how much of like the work that you do then, how much of it is about just representing kind of an authentic voice, I guess for the sake of art, should we say, and how much of it is kind of about having a career or kind of advertising? Is there like is the podcast just there to kind of create awareness for other projects, I guess is what I'm asking? Or is that the end result in itself for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, that was just to try and create awareness, because we were doing stuff, but nobody really knew about it. Like, I still listen to Jah's tracks and I think this should be like known nationwide. Like, I think it's amazing. We did, and one of my favourite ones actually was that video that we just did in my house for like half a day.
The moving out one.
Yeah. No, that was joke. I need to send you that. No, the other one, the one with it was like Dancing with the Devil or something.
Oh yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
And we just shot it in half a day, and it was because when the lyrics are like really powerful, you can like make visuals for them easily. So I think the podcast was just to try and give a platform, and now like with the stuff that Jah's doing on social media now, which is getting a lot more attention, which is great to see. I think you do need to just have some sort of social media presence that builds a following. Like I've got this film, The Correction Unit's out now. I need to keep posting stuff online. I don't like doing it really, to be honest. Like I'd rather like
just create.
Yeah, rather create. And I think, and that's the thing. I think you could tell that you are just compelled to write stuff down and make it into a song. I'm compelled to try and make a film, but also we do need to actually have these social like presences. But it'd be good. I think all creatives need some sort of management in that department, really.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? Yeah, I heard you talking about, because somebody asked you in another interview, Jah, I think it was Charisma recently, about staying creative, and you sort of likened it to a bit like going to the gym. Yeah. It's like you've just got to get up and do it every day to stay on top of it. Is that...
Yeah, it's mental gym, innit? For me, I'm a writer, so it's there's days where I can't write anything, or I'm not in the mood to write anything. There's days where I've got mental block, but it's just like if you want to stay fit, then you got to go to the gym. Even when you're groggy in the morning and you feel like, oh, I'm a bit tired, let me not go to the gym. You got to get up and go to that gym and hit the treadmill, and then you feel better after. So that's the same with me with writing. Like I dedicate myself to yeah, man, I've got these beats. Let me just, even if I don't feel like it, even if I write an 8 bar, I've done it. I've been creating and I've wrote it. You know what I mean? So yeah, there is a discipline. There is a discipline. If you want to be a writer, a professional writer as well, like there's definitely a discipline that comes with that. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to dedicate your time and your energy, and and just get through it, because if that's something you want to do, then you're gonna do it, innit? Because that's what we want to do. Yeah. So yeah, it's.
I say this to students all the time. It's like, when they're sat there and they're not really feeling it today or whatever. It's like this is the times you've got to work through. You've got to find the energy when you haven't got the energy if you want to be a success in this stuff. It's not waiting for inspiration to hit. It's just kind of consistently working.
That's the most important time to actually do it. When you've got that voice in your head telling you not to do it. That's when you've now definitely got to do it, because the ego, whatever you want to call it, is telling you not to do it. So that's the easiest time to be like, oh, you know what, I'm not really on it. But no, that's where you have to get up for whatever you're doing, and just, if it's writing, if it's gym, if it's any field that you're in, if you get that voice saying you're not in the mood, just go and do it, walk into it.
And that's the thing, those days are never going to go away. There's always going to be those days where you just not feeling it. And I think sometimes students sort of think, they'll get to this point where 10 years down the line, it'll always feel good. It won't. Creativity's not like that. You just have to be able to push through.
It's true.
Yeah. We've gone a bit off topic. You'll be on surprise. No, Andy, would you be able to roll us a bit further up the auto cue on the questions? Sorry, guys. So, Rikki, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, it's a little bit of repeat, I guess, a bit of what I just said, but it's like, in terms of when you're doing social media, and it already, you kind of answered it, that it's not like an end in itself, but do you have an eye on like how to monetize social media? So a lot of our students kind of see posting and things maybe as like a revenue in itself, but actually that's probably not the case for a film, for instance, because you're looking at much bigger budgets. But as a musical artist as well, is it a revenue, or is it like an aid to another?
Yeah, I wouldn't say social media is a revenue for me personally. I'd think, like you said, it's a springboard. So it's a billboard. It's a billboard. You know what I mean? So if I put my songs on air and it's resonating with the people, and people are resonating towards it, then promoters might get in touch with me.
Yeah,
I've had sync deals. I've had branding deals. I've had shows, you know what I mean? I've had to go into schools, go into colleges, go into prisons. You know what I mean? That's all where the monetizing comes in. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like a billboard for what we do, to showcase. It's like a showcase reel, innit? Like what we do, so people who are interested in or in the same field can kind of have a look and be like, okay, he's nice with it. Let me collaborate with him. Let me work with him, and then that's how we monetize. I think if you're thinking, oh, let me try and get some bread off just posting. That's a long game, mate. That's crazy.
That's what we try and tell the students.
Yeah. So just don't even look at it like that. Look at it as a billboard, like where you can showcase all your talents and whatever you've got going on for people to come and have a look, and then the DMs go off and you can kind of,
absolutely. And still, to this day, like face-to-face, in person is way more important. I'd say, like, obviously social media, you have to have it, but I'd say it's like 10% of what you should be doing, because you need to have a presence so someone can refer to. But if you're speaking to someone face-to-face, you're going to get more work off the back of that, 100%.
That's an interesting figure, 10%. Would you say it's about 10% for you? That means you must be working like crazy hours if that's the case, because you're on social media like every week.
Yeah, for me, social media is where I get most of my negotiating done. You know what I'm saying? But don't get it twisted. What Derry says is kind of right. Like, we can be lit on the net, but we really have to be lit in real life as well, because the net can only take you so far. Because the net is the vessel towards real life, innit? So I've got to go out there now. I've got to go to the shows in real life. I've got to go to the modelling agency, or I've got to go to the colleges in real life. So if I'm not lit in real life, then what they see on the net is also, it's like a facade. Like, this guy is not who we've who you know what I mean, who we've negotiated with. So it's hand in hand. I think you got to have a good balance, like have a good social media presence and have a good in real life presence, you know, and just merge that and just be who you are, be unapologetic who you are, believe in your truths, believe in your talent and your skill and your ability, and that's it. Like you're secure, you know what I'm saying? That's how I see it.
Good advice. Yeah.
So we are going to be taking questions from students a little bit later on. Those will be going up on my auto queue in front of me, so I'll be able to get to those questions. Rikki and I are going to work through a few first, but don't worry, if you're asking questions on YouTube, our dedicated moderators are going to get them up onto our auto queue soon. Derry, I was going to ask you, really interested in Jah's take on this too, but start with you. In the age of TikTok and Instagram, how have music videos changed? Like, and what do you think the future of the music video is?
Yeah, big time. I mean, even just watching that Got To Go video, which, by the way, just coincidentally was shot by a BAFTA-winning DP. He won a BAFTA the other week, you know, Jermaine.
Jermaine Edwards, big up Jermaine.
Yeah, big up Jermaine Edwards for that, yeah. And yeah, Luke directed that. And so that video itself was like long takes, like, you know, like the camera is like holding on images for a long period of time. And I think even now, that has already changed. This video came out like 4 years ago, I think. We shot it in lockdown, right?
Wow.
Yeah. So,
wow.
And so I think now, basically, social media has changed music videos. They're a lot more quicker. They've gone back to like MTV 90s style. Just with better cameras, basically. And the cuts don't even need to make sense sometimes, as long as they keep the beat moving. And I think that has definitely changed. I also think, obviously, everything needs to be shot to be composited for vertical as well. All of the framing needs to be considered to be wide enough so you can crop in to make it a vertical frame, because they all need cut downs. So
you do 2 versions?
Yeah,
one
so
landscape,
you connect,
one portrait.
You connect. Wow. Sometimes you just put the mobile on the camera now. So you've got like a mobile version,
right?
And then there's also these DJI Osmo cameras, which
we've got some of those. For our students.
They're really useful.
They're amazing, yeah.
For vertical stuff, so you can just link that, like rig that to the camera. This camera's shooting 16 by 9, and then that one's shooting 9 by 16. So vertical and portrait, vertical and horizontal, and they'll just roll at the same time, which is a bit crazy, but I think that's like just the way it has to be.
So you like the whole creative approach has to differ, because you've got to think about pacing differently. You've got to think about what's going to work in 30 seconds or a minute as a snippet that's going to suck people in. How do you feel about that?
I don't feel great about it, but
I knew that was going to be your answer.
But what I have realised is definitely happening is there's editors for social media, and then there's editors for like long form film, and they're 2 different jobs now. So like Luke Bradford edits a lot of my stuff now. He edited the Correction Unit, and he is a brilliant editor, like narrative, like. But then stuff for social media he can do, but he wouldn't feel great doing it. And then other people would love to do social media, and they wouldn't know how to edit the Correction Unit. So I think that's fine. So it makes more job opportunities. I think younger people tend to be more drawn to like stuff that are fast paced, maybe, or like, you know, than me. But that's always changed anyway. Because like, if you look, like I'm a film geek, so I'll watch something from like the 1940s, and I'll be interested and excited by it. But a lot of other people like my age wouldn't. So it always changes anyway. So I think you're just gonna have to adapt.
Just to go off the back of that, like I think like just again, a lot of these younger people their concentration span is very short. So they're on a quick fix. So they want to see, if you ain't caught them in 5 seconds, then swipe, you know what I mean? So a lot of it's changed in that way, like you're saying, the long form, like we're coming from like proper music videos, like 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes, and just the long haul in it. So I just feel like you have to have both, a bit of both in it. Like we're in 2026 now, so social media is the new TV, like we were saying it. So we have to adjust with the times, or we're gonna be them old guys who do that old school thing, and the youths are gonna kind of be with the new stuff. It's just so it's just learning. We can learn off the young people, just like the young people can learn off us, you know. And that's how I look at it. Like some of these young people are geniuses. Do you know what I'm saying? And this is it's a balance. Everything's a balance.
And sorry, just one. I know we keep back and forth, but one thing that I do think is important is that there's two separate like markets now. Like they're massive, and they cross over, but they're very separate. So like filmmaking is very separate to online videos.
Yeah.
And I think like films like Sinners and One Battle After Another, which done really well last year, amazing films. Yeah.
Sick.
They haven't been chopped up quickly to suit like a social media audience, but the themes and the ideas are relatable to a social media audience. But the editing is actually still sort of traditional film editing, and so I think like we have to make films that like appeal to like an online audience, but that could be like through ideas, through principles and values, as well as like the way it's cut or the way it's shot.
That's interesting.
For sure. I have heard things, so when I worked at Warner Music, they said that like, when you make videos that you have to catch them in the first second, and then after 5 seconds, and then after 20 seconds.
Crazy.
And if you haven't got them after a minute, then they won't. So they literally changed the way they shoot things. And then I've heard writers writing for Netflix, for instance, putting recaps into the script because they're used to people being on two screens while they're watching stuff. So it's almost changed the format of how you write and how you deliver stuff. Do you feel much of that in some of the work you do?
I definitely do in my because I work as a corporate video producer as well as narrative. I'd be keen to know people watching now what they think about, do they watch Netflix with their phones as well? I would be interested to know that, because I don't know if that many people are doing it.
Right.
Like this whole idea that like people are doing it, I think it's still like a minority. But yeah, Ben Affleck said that whole thing about like putting the plot back into the film every 15 minutes. It's just waste of time.
It feels awful, right?
So a waste of time. But so what is important, like when I'm working with clients for like social media videos, they have to have a hook and they have to draw people in within 3 seconds, like you're saying. Otherwise it's a scroll. So you do need something immediately engaging, posing a question, immediately posing some sort of question. That could be through text, but it can also be through the visual. Don't have any introductions. These videos just never have intros. This is a waste of time.
Straight in, no long thing.
Yeah, that's it.
I was also going to ask, I mean, how does that affect the way you do songwriting as well? Do you actually write songs now with like TikTok in mind? Whereas you might, like, if you write a song for a radio, for instance, it's going to be 3.5 minutes, it's going to be verse, chorus, verse, probably a big hook on it, whatever. Yeah. Whereas TikTok's going to be a different style altogether. So are you conscious of that when you're writing? Do you always open with a shock bar, a line at the first bar, or things like that?
So I write as I would normally write. I would write as I would normally write. But if I'm posting on TikTok or Instagram, I'm going to find the piece of the song where it's going to be the most impactful or the most catchy, the most people are going to gravitate to. So yeah, I'm definitely conscious of that, you know what I mean? When I'm posting, I'm not just going to post like you say in the intro, that's 12 seconds and no one's really gonna look at it, you know what I mean? I'm going to post a bit where it's a bit controversial, or it's intriguing, innit? It's catching people's ears and eyes. So yeah, so it's definitely.
And which comes first? Do you ever get like an idea that's like from a visual perspective and then you write to it? Or is it a case that you're taking his writing and you're visualizing that, or how does that kind of work?
Yeah, for me, so that's definitely changed for me now because of social media. Now I get ideas visually. Sometimes I get ideas visually, and then I will write about it. You know what I mean? Sometimes the visuals aren't come yet, and I'll just write, and I'll go to a team. I'll go to Ganji. I'll go to, if I'm working with Derry, and we will script the visuals to the writing what I've wrote. You know what I'm saying? So it just depends. There's no set way about it. It just depends like that. And again, there's no rules with creativity. Like the creativity is it's so open, it's limitless. You know what I'm saying? So I try and stay in that. With that formula, you know what I mean? There's no rules, so I'm not trying to stay in a box where, like, even you saying verse hook. That's kind of old school. That's kind of traditional. Like Kanye West is doing 11-minute songs. Kendrick's doing 15-minute songs. You know what I'm saying? So like that's unheard of. You know what I mean? So there's no rules. Like
There's not a lot of radio play either, really, though, anymore, is
Not
there?
really.
Not for most artists.
Yeah, like
You know, people are getting their media in different ways.
Yeah.
And, you know, they might be getting the song and the video, even if it's on Spotify or whatever. There's
Literally.
something that's visual going with it. isn't
Literally,
it? So it's,
literally.
Yeah, it is all different formats.
And what about for you, Derry, when you're making music videos? Where do your ideas come from? Is it a matter of listening to the song and sort of trying to visualise, or have you ever been in a situation where you've sort of already had an idea and that's fitted with a song? How's it work for you?
Yeah, I'll get the lyrics on like a transcript and listen to it, and then I'll like sort of tag ideas on it, underline stuff. With Jah's stuff, it's easy because it's very visual. With other stuff, you have to sort of be a bit abstract with it, and that's the thing that maybe some student directors don't realise. You can be as abstract as you want, as long as you get the feeling of what the song represents. It doesn't need to be literal. It could be anything. Yeah. Like you're saying, like there are no limits. You can just like, if you wanted to do like a random video that actually has completely no relevance to the lyrics, but still gets across what the emotion of that song is, that's better sometimes, and that happens a lot.
Yeah, sometimes they're the best videos.
Yeah, definitely. Like and like you say, Kendrick Lamar's videos are amazing. That's particularly the ones that he did for the Damn album a few years
crazy.
And they were all abstract. Like they were all very visual.
Nothing to do with the song.
But
just look very good and catches the feeling of the song though, and that's what you're saying, isn't it?
Big time. And I think that's more important. I think obviously that sometimes that doesn't immediately translate to hits and views on social media platforms. It can do though, but it will definitely make your video last longer because people will keep referring back to it, watching it back. There's a wicked video by Kano called The Trouble, which came out a few years back, which is one of the best music videos I've ever seen. And it's directed by the guy who won an Oscar. He won an Oscar for Best Short Film. And he did this video before. And I'd highly recommend anyone watching that, because that mixes like mobile phone footage with really well high production value shot stuff, and there's the end scene with like Kano gets and I can't remember the third artist, but they have this amazing like performance at a wake, but in the video, and it's
D double.
Maybe yeah, it's class. So yeah, definitely get a transcript down with the lyrics, do some visuals based on that, think about the feeling that the song gives you, and try and get that in the video.
Love it. Once again, we've gone off our script. Andy, could we bump up a couple of questions? So we're going to talk a bit about AI. Lovely subject. So it's a key theme in the Correction Unit. That's Derry's feature-length film, which we will be watching the trailer for in a moment. So we'll get more into the Correction Unit later, but wanted to ask, do either of you make any use of AI in your work?
I only use it for admin stuff, and I make a point of like, it's brilliant for that. Anything that's like, you know, me doing my tax return, I'll use AI. That's amazing. I'll never use it unless there's some form of irony in it. I'll never actually use it to produce creative content. It could be great for research and development, great for admin, like a really sort of more advanced Google, basically. Yeah. But I don't know, what you reckon?
I'm the same. Like, I only use it when I'm trying to find out stuff, or literally, or I need to write a quick paragraph. Like, I'm going to be honest, mate. I don't creative stuff. Like, I'm nowhere near it. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I feel the same, to be honest. I think it's interesting though, because even what we think of as AI, like, because some of the stuff that we're seeing now is some of the really boring grunt work is disappearing from some of the video editing stuff, photography stuff. If you're thinking about, you know, creating a mat and tracking it with something instead of having to do it frame by frame, then the video editing software is just going to blur out that registration plate for you. Yeah, like that. I'm down with that because it was boring and it wasn't creative. Sitting there frame by frame, blurring out a reg.
Yeah, I get that.
But that's for me. Like if it makes something that isn't creative, that is just kind of like grunt work that needed doing quicker, that's great. But like to actually rely on it for ideas, for visuals, I can't.
I see one thing. I think it's Timbaland. He's got an AI artist.
Some music, hasn't he? Yeah.
He's releasing music. I think that's absolutely wild. I think it's crazy.
What are you doing it for? If that.
It's for money, obviously, but it's greed, isn't it? Like, but for me, it's just somebody's missing out on the opportunity like of a life-changing opportunity. Like someone super talented is missing out for an AI artist. It's crazy to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I just feel like it's a bit mad from Timberlake, because he should know. He's from. You know what I'm saying?
How's it creative without a struggle? It's not.
Exactly.
There's no struggle. There's no creativity.
Exactly.
100%, because you don't have the time to explore. You don't have that exploration. Like, you have to have that, because otherwise you're not going to develop. You know, have you ever seen Wall-E, the film Wall-E?
Yeah.
So they're fat blokes on like segways at the end of the film. So that's where we're going. unless we like and actually like challenge ourselves and like develop our brains.
Yeah.
Which is the hard stuff, as what like writing a story from scratch is really hard. Writing a track from scratch is really hard.
Yeah.
But if you don't do that, and you just rely on AI giving the starting base, like the foundations for everything, then you're just going to be daft.
Yeah, and there's an energy behind us, right? Like what you're saying, there's an energy behind us trying to figure it out, trying to struggling with it, and then getting it, and then, you know what I mean, figuring it out. There's an energy behind that transcends through the art. You know what I mean? So I think with AI, that you can't get that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think what we'll do then is we'll go to the trailer for the Correction Unit. So that's Derry's feature-length film, which focuses on AI. So let's have that trailer.
Imagine a world where young people feel safe. Where young people don't need to worry about being exposed to violent and manipulative content every single day. They pollute your devices with negativity, and guess what? It keeps you engaged. Not happy, but still there, scrolling. Why should you have to be exposed to this anymore? We won't allow it.
Violent young offenders, unfit for society. This is not a prison, this is an opportunity.
We ride it out together, yeah?
Don't worry, that's just on track. Keeping tabs.
You're in a safe space.
You think this is gonna fix me? Are you stupid?
You have been handpicked because we know deep down inside your mind there's a feeling for something more. You will not be constricted by society's algorithm. Here is where you take back control of your lives, your options, and your psyche. This is where we begin.
What have you done? You treat like a worthless.
This is just the beginning. What do you want to do with your future?
Sick.
Amazing stuff.
Sick.
Cracking stuff. So, Derry, I'm going to ask you a question which I really, really want to know the answer to, but I'm just also aware of that we've got about 15 minutes left, and you could probably answer this question for about 2 weeks. But tell us the story of the making of the Correction Unit.
Yeah, so I was working as a teacher, and it was in lockdown, and AI was everywhere, and it was just crazy. Like, I remember ChatGPT launched, everyone lost their minds, rightfully so. And at that time, I was given a small amount of money to develop a feature film, and then I saw AI as like a sort of monster, right? That could like change our whole way of life in like a narrative sense. Like, it's a great thing to write a film about. And I thought, what would happen is if these big tech moguls just pursued AI without considering what would happen to the most vulnerable people in our society. The most vulnerable people in our society, I think, are young offenders. And so you could imagine a world where they use AI therapy to like fix these like naughty kids that have got like, you know, they need to be corrected. Like they've got something wrong. They keep acting violently, not sure why, because they're exposed to like, you know, endless stuff on social media. Maybe that's it. So you could imagine I mean, there are institutes already using AI therapy to like correct these kids. So I just thought, yeah, write like a sci-fi thriller about that. And then as AI got more, as we found out more about AI, I had to sort of adjust to that. But that was 4 years ago, and then we shot for 2 years, and now the film's finished. Yeah, so it's been a long time coming.
So in terms of funding, like that film was pretty much all self-funded, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so we got an initial investment from this guy who I worked with as a freelance filmmaker for about 7 years. He was going to put in what ended up to be about 1/5 of the overall budget. Then I had to find out some way of getting the rest of the money. Like I took out 3 loans, credit cards and all this sort, put my own money in, grabbed money from like anyone I could. We did a crowdfunder, which didn't go extremely well, but it was helpful. A bunch of other people came in once we had the trailer. We could send that to people. We had a distribution deal. We could send that to people, and they chipped in money. But yeah, it was a hard, like it was really hard to get the money. But now the film's on sale. It's been released in cinemas in Taiwan and Malaysia, which is beautiful. And then we actually got a cinema screening tomorrow as well in Nottingham.
Yeah. Is that Broadway?
Broadway, yeah, 7 p.m. tomorrow. And yes, it's going to be good. So it is on sale now as a product, so it's finished. And so hopefully we'll be able to see some of the money back. But ultimately, it doesn't really matter because once it started, it had to be finished. Like, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
But yeah, I think it's turned out really well. Bella Ramsey came on board, which helped as well. That helps get money on. People were interested from like off the back of that as well.
Yeah, fantastic. How did you get Bella Ramsey? Was that
I just messaged them and just went, here's I put a cut of like an assembly cut of the film that we shot about half of it, and then I messaged Bella and I was like, you'd be perfect to play the AI in this film. And so luckily it worked, like the scheduling worked. I did a podcast with Bella the day after they slayed the giant in Game of Thrones, right? They did like a world exclusive podcast with me. And so we had that connection, and then Bella just committed to it. But they if anything is interesting, they don't mind how independent it is, they'll do it. Mm-hmm. Bella's great. And yeah, that was amazing to have like their voice. And then we did a music video with Bella as well, a couple of weeks after we finished the voiceover for the correction unit.
Great stuff.
Sick.
So, Jah, in terms of sort of like funding your creative projects, like the music video stuff, for example, is it quite a blunt question, I guess, but like, is it all revenue from performances, streaming, stuff like that,
basically,
or
yeah.
do you tap into any other?
Yeah, basically for me, it's again, we have to chip in from it's self-funded, like, so from shows. I just look at it as like we're investing back into ourselves, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To get the best product, don't get it twisted. Along the way, a lot of other creatives would like to just collaborate and work, you know what I mean? And that's helped a lot as well. Like just like videographers or photographers or even venues say, yeah, do you want to collab with us so we can build up our thing and then you do your thing, and it's just like a transaction of skill sets.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's helped a lot, you know what I mean? And that's what I kind of love. I love like that's one of my things. I love working with other creatives just to see what we can do and what we can make and what we can build,
yeah.
and just to execute as well. Because like you're saying, once your film started, there was no way you're not finishing it. Like you have to execute it, you know what I'm saying? So that's what kind of I'm on, like just if I'm starting something, we've got to finish it, you know what I'm saying? And that's it.
I always think Nottingham's quite a good city to network in as well, and I'm always talking to the students about the importance of networking and things like that, but it's quite a difficult thing to teach people. Like how do you network? So I guess it's a question to you guys. You got any advice for them? How do you network? And then I always warn them about exposure. It's like, don't do things for free for people if you don't get something back, but collaborating, that's different. That's when you're both getting something out of it. That's fine. So is there any advice you could give them along those sorts of lines?
I think for networking, you've got to have confidence. Just be confident in your skill set, but believe in yourself and know that what you bring to the table is worth the conversation. You know what I mean? It's worth putting out there. Also, this is a thing that I learned late, like research. Know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? No, don't go in there winging things like you just off the cuff, because people can read it, like real recognize real. People could know like, yeah, he don't really know what he's talking about, or he's kind of winging this. You know what I mean? And it rubs off on people. You know what I mean? So just research, be confident in your skill set, and believe in your thing, believe in your source. You know what I mean? And go out there and express.
Mm-hmm.
You know
yeah, that's it. And then that all of that, and then show interest in the people you're chatting to as well. But yeah, I mean, like if you're at like a networking event or whatever, meet as many people as you can, because sometimes you get tied down to a group that you can get on with, and I do that. I just find the people in the corner and then speak to them for like the whole thing. But actually,
and also what you're saying about that, if you're in a room full of like creatives, it can happen where it's a bit daunting and overwhelming, like where you don't even actually speak to nobody, and then you get home and like, oh, I didn't really do my thing. Like, no, like you're saying, if you're in a room, speak to as many people as you can. Like, don't feel like you're being a bit cringy or corny. Like, that's why we're all there. We're all in that space to converse and, you know, to exchange skill sets and exchange whatever we're doing. You know what I mean? So speak up. Like, if you're in a room, speak up.
You never know who's going to be in that room.
You never know.
Yeah.
Love it. I think we could go to some student questions to wrap it up. So Lee Beckwith Morris is asking, this is one for you, Jah. Why did you start music and how did it change your life?
that's a deep question. But yeah, I started music from a youngster. I'm from a household of 5, so all my brothers were old school hip hop heads, Nas, Mobb Deep, all of that. And I used to just listen to the tape sets when they was out, and then I used to recite the Nas lyrics on paper, and I was fascinated with that, like just getting the whole patterns right. And that's when I knew like I can kind of do Nas better than Nas. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying?
It's a big claim.
Yeah, I've got something there. So then I started writing my own lyrics, and then it was just a snowball effect from there. You know what I mean? And obviously, music and writing gave me a focus. It gave me a discipline. It took me away from certain activities that was happening on the roadsides, and it gave me a focus and a direction. You know what I mean? So I always say this, like in interviews or when I'm talking, music saved my life. You know what I mean? Because I've got a lot of friends that are not here today, that are either on the prison system or in the cemetery. You know what I mean? And music, I was alongside them, so it's kind of mad. Like music has kind of gave me, like I'm saying, a direction and a focus and a discipline to just kind of stick to something and be part of something other than the negative things that happen on the roadside. You know what I mean? So yeah, man. I always say to anyone that find something that you love, other than the influences outside. Find something that you love and stick to it and you know, love it and enjoy it, because you never know, down the line it can save your life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. So Red Assassin UK is asking, don't think that's a real name, but you know.
Could be. Maybe a real assassin.
So what's the creative process between you both when matching the music and visuals?
Okay.
Derry, you talked about that a bit already, but I'm wondering, when you guys sit down together and actually start talking to each other about a music video, what do you do?
So we'll listen to the song firstly. Like we'll listen to the song, and then from the song, ideas will just start popping up. You know what I mean? Then Derry will think, okay, well, I can hear the hit from just the production. I've got a location where I reckon will fit nice. We'll go location scouting. We'll go, you know what I mean? And even just like colors, like the color scheme of the song. Even just if we need it to be like a solo, if it needs to be a solo song when it's just me, or even if it's like if there's no performance in the song, like, you know what I mean? Like there could be a video where there's no performance. It's just more like a film, but it's a music video. You know what I mean? So it's just having that brainstorming. We brainstorm and ideas just pop up on the brainstorm from when we listen to the song, and then we just roll it from there. And then Derry does his magic.
Yeah, something will come from it. And I think like what was really great, because we had like Luke and you did a bunch of videos I produced, and me and you did some that I produced and directed. Mm-hmm. But we had like a team of people always. So like Luke, Nick, you know, sometimes Robin, sometimes Jamal. Yeah, these other people that have sort of ideas anyway. So that's sort of incepted anyway. So it builds from like it could be something really basic, like for Grandma's Place, which Luke directed, I produced. It was sort of a throwback to Windrush generation. So shot it on a Super 8 camera, and then the visuals started from like, all right, shoot on a Super 8 camera and then build from there. So yeah, it would just have like one idea that grows, I think.
And I like what you're saying there, because thinking about the students who are watching us, like you're talking about Windrush, students probably have heard of that, but sort of the generation that came over from the Caribbean, like post-war, but like that's, you're getting inspiration from history, you know, you're opening your mind up to bigger stuff, and like to come up with these creative ideas, you've got to have that interest in history and in culture, and actually be paying attention to what's going on in the world on a broader level.
Big time, because a lot of the time you crowbar what you want to do into the song anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think like if you have something that you are interested in because you've read about it, you can shape that into the music video, because music videos could be anything.
And that's what I was saying about research though, like learning things. When you learn things, you understand things more, and you get inspiration from that. Like all the big artists learn from the artists that came before them, you know what I mean? Like you can get like a Shaka Khan or a Miles Davis sample in a Kanye West tune, or in a Chris Brown song, you know what I'm saying? So it's all about research, it's all about just learning our history and learning where we're coming from. And Nas even says there's nothing new under the sun, no idea is original. It's not how you do it, it's how it's done. You get what I'm saying? That's a big line. So as much as we can be, you know, unique, we're still part of a collective, you know, and it's all okay to be inspired by other creatives, you know what I'm saying? And that's how I look at it as well.
That's interesting, because Vanessa's just asking, how has growing up in your environment shaped your creative voice, and what responsibilities do you feel to represent your community through what you do? So
that's a great question.
We've touched a bit on that, but
big up Vanessa, good question. But yeah, my environment's definitely shaped how I speak and how I look at the world. You know what I mean? I've seen a lot of negativity. I've been down a dark road. You know what I'm saying? And I've been one of the lucky ones to kind of make it out into the light. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like my responsibility is to speak life into young people, to speak life into not just young people, to people, and just, you know, and be a good role model and lead by example. You know what I'm saying? Not if I'm out here doing some of the madness what's going off out here, but expect the youths them not to do that, then that's a bit of a contradiction, you know what I'm saying? I'll be a hypocrite. So I'm like, I have to kind of lead by example and just, you know, just shine that light on. It's cool to be a dad. It's cool to be a dad whose family's intact. It's cool to be a business owner. It's cool to go to school and learn. It's cool to be educated. It's cool to speak very well. It's cool to be, you know what I mean? Instead of the other things like what you see, like, you know, the bad man thing or the road man thing. That's not cool. That's not it. Like, having your business together is what is cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? Your household's intact. You got your fridges full. You got lecky and gas in your house, mate. It's running. Like, you got your things in order. So that's the cool stuff, man. You're learning. You passed your exam. You got your license. You're going on holiday with your friends. That's the cool stuff. You know what I mean? So
I think we see a lot of pressure. A lot of our students have a lot of pressure on them to act a certain way, do certain things.
That's not it.
They maybe neglect their studies sometimes.
Yeah, that's
really,
not it.
It's really great to hear that.
That is not it. Yeah.
Yeah, because we're right here in the heart of the city.
Yeah.
A lot of our students are coming to us from St Anne's, from the Meadow,
so you see it.
Bradford, so we see it, a lot of the time.
It's almost like a disease. Like, these young people feel like they have to be a certain way, speak a certain way, and to fit in. And I get it, because we was all young at one stage, innit? But you learn, innit? So it's just for the young people to kind of see, like, elders kind of, and the ones that are clean, I call them clean elders, which all four of us are, by the way. Clean elders that are kind of like just living our life and doing everything that we want to do. You know what I mean?
I'm not sure I like being called an elder.
That's the students. That's the students. That's the students.
It's good as well, because it's also what you're doing as well. There's young people now that need an outlet, which you're giving them all the time. And like, we tried to give it with the film as well, but I think more places need to do that. I think
opportunities,
100%.
So you used students from this college, didn't you, in that film? So how did that come about?
Yeah, so Elise Bradshaw, we cast, and she's amazing. She plays Tish, and then off the back of, she's a college student here, was a student, she left now. Off the back of that, we started casting other students from the college, but we also cast through Stone Soup Alternative Provision, because there was a few really talented people there who never thought they could act, but I knew they could, because they're the best. And And if you give them an opportunity, they're actually way better than a trained actor at that type of role anyway. And then some of them have gone on to get into the TV workshop, and one of them's in Shane Meadows' next film. And but his friend went to jail for shooting someone. He was going to audition for the film, and
Crazy.
you know, he didn't do it. Didn't feel like he was up for it or whatever. I think if there was an opportunity in place, that might not have happened. So I think like there does seem to be an issue at the moment with young people desperate for some sort of creative outlet, and this city doesn't actually have the infrastructure to support that enough. Like CRS and CYF and these groups are great. There needs to be like 10 more of them.
Yeah, for sure. It's like a powerhouse, CRS, isn't it? The amount of talent that's come out of that place. Just incredible. And consistency over the years, you know.
So just in case at home you're not sure what CRS is, Community Recording Studios in St Anne's. So it's providing loads of opportunities and access for young people to get in and start doing some recording.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
All right. So I think we're about out of time. Thanks so much, guys. It's been amazing.
It was great. We could have talked all day, I think.
Yeah, I would have happily gone for another couple of hours. But, you know, thank you so much for coming in. Next event starts at 11:30, guys, and that's with Fabio De Paola. He's a photographer. He'll be talking to one of our lecturers, Matt Bunn, about what he does. He's done some really, really incredible stuff. So join that YouTube stream at 11:30. Thanks, then. See you later.